Da, 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 da.
Greetings, fellow test subjects. Test subject 1337 here for Aperture Gaming. They make it, we test it, you play it. And now it's time to blow off some steam as Aperture Gaming is proud to present a B.O.S. review. Now, I'm trying to make sure I get this posted at a very specific day because if my calculations are correct. Today's game I'm reviewing is called Voidtrain, and it officially debuted on Steam 1 year ago today, if I get this posted on time. Anyway, I've just recently played it because I wanted to play it last year, but then 3 days later last year is when Tears of the Kingdom came out. So, priorities and whatnot. Anyway, it's the 1 year anniversary and the game is still in early access, so it's been a year, so how does the game stack up now? Well, let's get into the review, shall we?
Series.
As I said, the name of the game is Voidtrain. It is not a sequel, prequel, or in-between-quel. It's its own original standing property, but it reminds me of some other stuff, which I will cover a little later.
Team.
This game was developed and published by Hypertrain Digital.
Plot.
The game starts off, it's somewhere on Earth, in an isolated part of the world that's frozen, so it takes place, rough guess, between 1940 and 1980. I'm just spitballing here. You come across this cabin, and inside is some notes, and it looks like the world's weirdest science project. You activate it, and this gate opens, and you are sucked into this weird parallel alternate universe void. There, all you have is you, the notes from the scientists, and a push car on a rail, and you have to travel across the this parallel void universe from station to station, trying to figure out how to collect, craft, and survive in this weird void. Basically, you're kind of like Dr. Gordon Freeman, or maybe Professor Dr. Stanford Pines. It reminds me of those things. And wait a minute. Weird scientific experiment, using a car to survive, collecting materials to craft and survive. This game could pretty much be a unique precursor to that of Pacific Drive. But no, it is not. Different setting, different studio, different everything.
Gameplay controls.
Alright, the gameplay is divided into a couple of areas. First of all, it's all in first person. Secondly, so the car that you are on, you can only travel on the rails, but you can jump off the car, and you're tethered to the car, to collect stuff in the void. Chemicals, wood, metal. And as you collect these things, you then look at your research notebook to figure out how to craft furniture, wood floors to expand the car upgrades, walls, food and water collection and cooking. You can also then collect armor to protect yourself, and weapons for offensive and defensive purposes, because there are things in the void that aren't that friendly, including other people. So you have people and creatures that will sometimes show offensive tendencies towards you. So you have to upgrade yourself, your equipment, and your car. The gameplay is divided between collecting materials while traveling from station to station, and then when you're at the station, you have a chance to upgrade your car, interact with some other people and places, get some more items. And then after that, it's basically station, travel. It goes back and forth from that. But yeah, it's interesting because also with your when you get the gun bench upgraded for the armory, you can then whatever your starting pistol you start with, if you get up gun modifications, you can then adjust the barrel, the handle, and the magazine, so you can adjust factors for that. So it's basically collecting materials to craft and survive.
Graphics.
The graphics for this game are pretty good. Most of the time, if you're out in the void, you can see some stuff off in a foggy distance, so it has a very good environmental skybox. And since you're floating around, like 90% of the world is skybox. When you're on the ground, we're actually walking around, everything looks pretty good when you're at the stations. The creatures look interesting. There's like stuff that you see from a distance, stuff that gets a little close to you, and then there's some of the creatures that get a little too close to you. But everything looks pretty good. A lot of good detail was paid to for the ground, the characters, the creatures. Everything looks really good, and like I said, I couldn't tell what year this was all taking place. but they have an interesting like false language, and it's interesting to try to figure out like in what parallel universe timeline this is taking place in.
Audio.
One thing I like about the audio is how some soundtracks for games, like if you're stuck in a specific area, it'll just loop the same song over and over and over again. But this is cool. Like if you're traveling around, if you're in the void for a long time, you can it'll play a section of soundtrack. It'll then be quiet, and then it'll play a completely different song. So I like how it has some variety to that. We also get some good voice acting work. We have a narrator who is guiding us through the story, reading it in third person, and then you hear some other characters talking. Also, it's interesting to hear the sounds of the creatures that you're interacting with, the weaponry that's being used, and I like how there's all the different sound effects for like the building of something, like with wood or with metal, repairing something, and the sound that the car makes when it's traveling along.
Multiplayer.
Alright, so this is still in early access, and one of the things it says on the site is play solo or online co-op with up to 4 people. So yes, it is solo and or multiplayer, and two of the tags are open world, survival craft, and co-op. So yes, there is a multiplayer feature for this game. Now when I first started the game, it said that while co-op will be something that they are working on, they want to try to get all the bugs and issues figured out before they focus on that. And in the entire time I've played so far, I haven't encountered any co-op ability yet. But I do know it's out there, so at least there's that. So yes, it is a co-op multiplayer game.
DLC.
Yes, there is currently one DLC for this game. There's like the regular Voidtrain, and then there's like the deluxe edition, which added the supporter upgrade, or you can just get the supporter upgrade separately. I bought the regular edition. I wanted to see how the game worked out before I got the supporter upgrade. So there's only one DLC so far, but hopefully after it's done with early access, either the support edition will still be there, and maybe we'll get some other DLC later on. Maybe weapons, maybe cosmetics, who knows?
Issues.
Okay, so yes, like I said, this game is early access, so they do have a thing where if there's any problems or bugs or issues, they ask that you please report it. So I'm acknowledging that this is early access, so there are a couple of things I just want to point out. Like there's things that are a little iffy with gameplay, and then there's some stuff that are still buggy. Like one area, when I was shooting at this predatory fish, it was attacking me. I would shoot it, but I was trying to click the shoot button, but it wasn't acknowledging. And also, its health, it would go down and then it would instantly regenerate. So I can't tell if that's something, a normal feature for that fish in particular, or if that's still a bug that they're working on. So yeah. Also, in terms of like gameplay, like you gotta read the notes. We have to pay very special attention to some areas because some stuff, it either throws a lot of information right at your face, or some stuff you have to look up because it doesn't tell you. Yeah, so it does a combination of overshare and not enough at the same time. So, like I said, this game has been out in early access for a whole year, so hopefully with enough feedback, they'll be able to get all the bugs sorted out. But right now, it's playable. It's nothing game-breaking at the moment. Oh, also, like, you need to make sure when you're traveling between stations, you grab all the stuff that's in the void, because there are some parts where you can't be able to back up. You can move the train forward and backwards, but behind you there's this weird this weird entity thing that is preventing you from backing the train up for too far. So you have to make sure you pay attention to that. So there's a couple of spots that need still a little polish and work, but yeah, like I said, it's early access, so that's what you work with.
Buy, rent, or pass.
I've played this game for a short while, and so I'm going to give it a solid buy. Like I said, I did compare it to a little bit to Pacific Drive, but it is in no way, shape, or form like Pacific Drive. It has a couple of similar gameplay mechanic ideas, and it's taking me to play a little bit different. I'm playing it probably a little differently than other people are, but if you gather the materials, if you pay attention to the notebook for how you do the upgrades and stuff, then who knows, like, you can play at your own pace, and I'm enjoying it. It's only been a short while, but I do think this game is buy-worthy.
Overall score.
Yeah, so because I'm the conductor of the Voidtrain, hence why I kind of went with a different hat this time, I do like this game. I saw it, I thought it looked different than previous games I played, and like I said, it kind of reminded me of being Dr. Freeman or Dr. Stanford Pines traveling the multiverse only on a train. So kind of like that one anime slash manga Galaxy 999 something. Anyway, yeah, I like it. I think that Voidtrain deserves a solid 9 out of 10. Yeah, I like it. I mean, you upgrade your train to take more hits, to collect, to be able to hold more items, to feed and heal yourself. And since your tether rope can only go out so far, at one point you actually unlock a grappling hook. So, yeah, the game is, yeah, it's entertaining. It's 1 year old, and hopefully it'll eventually be out of early access and it'll be fully functional. And hopefully afterwards, even if there's stuff still bugging it, they can fix it afterwards. But I like it. Solid 9 out of 10. Definitely a buy. Just waiting to see if I need to spring the extra money for any of the DLC. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode. I thank you for watching. Glad we had a chance to blow off some steam with this boss review. Until next time, this is Test Subject 1337 for Aperture Gaming saying thank you for watching and game on. Have a nice day.